Hello and welcome to my podcast, Up Your Total Glow, your podcast for your body, mind, and soul to support, guide, and empower you to uncover your most glowing, healthiest, and feel good version of you. I am super excited that you're here with me, and I want to welcome you to Series 3 of my podcast. And to celebrate this new round of uplifting, inspiring, health spreading, and empowering episodes in style, I have a super special guest with me today. In today's episode, I'm speaking with the totally brilliant Amrit Singh. Amrit is a high momentum life coach and spiritual seeker who has been studying Kundalini Yoga for over 30 years, which gives him the ability to deeply understand and connect with his clients. He helps his clients to figure out what they most want in life and what makes them happy, and then guides them into creating a new and hyper-successful reality in their life. In the interview, Amrit shares with us his own very inspiring journey towards spiritual self-growth. He also shares an abundance of practical tools and easy to apply transformational knowledge and wisdom in his very authentic, kind, refreshing, and easygoing way. If you are keen to transform your life and grow in a deeply soul-fulfilling way, then this is a must listen for you. Please enjoy. Here he is, the amazing Amrit. Hi, Amrit. I am so excited to have you here today. Thank you so much for making the time to chat with me. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. This is going to be so much fun.
Yes, I can't wait to get into the conversation with you. Maybe to kick it off, can you tell us a little bit about you? So the huge question, who are you? And what
Yes.
do you do?
I just by the way how I look, with the beard and the turban, I very quickly get put into a little box of, oh yes, one of those guys. And I have to actively work to not be put in that box. So I was born in Germany, and then when I was 25, moved to India and lived there for 20 years. And so there I learned about Sikhism, and that's where the beard and the turban came from. But really over the last couple of years, my journey has taken me away from the religious approach to life, which again has a lot to do with being put in that little box, towards a more spiritual approach, where we're just all the same, and where it doesn't matter what color skin we have, or if we're a man or a woman, or if we're born in Australia, or we're born in Germany, or in the United States. And we're just all in this together, in this beautiful journey on this planet Earth, as souls having these different avatars we're living with. And so I just really enjoy my avatar with the beard and the turban. And so I kind of stuck with it.
Beautiful, and it's cool. It's definitely different. I would like to know, what is that box? Like you mentioned twice, you get then put in a box when you look the way you look with the turban and the beard. So what do you think that box is?
Well, it got hard when 9/11 happened in the US, and I was called Osama bin Laden and put into the Muslim community, and obviously then right away into the extreme Muslim community, because the Muslim community is a beautiful community, 99.99%, but then you have that small little element in there which just gets portrayed as, oh my God, all the Muslims are bad. I also found that a lot of people don't know the difference between what is a Sikh, which I identified with for many years, and what is a Muslim, and what is, how do all these things fit together. But for me, it has become so much part of my identity to express myself in this way. And it also has given me a lot of opportunity to be more humble. because, you know, when you walk into an airport with 1,000 other people and 2 people get called for random screening, and it's me and the big black dude, you know,
And me. I
and
always
you,
get
there you
called
go,
in
for
for
some reason.
screening as well. I don't know why. Just for the audience who might not know me yet and who are not watching this. I don't have a beard. I don't have a turban. And still I get called in. So I'm not
I
black
think it's really
either.
just the people who shine the brightest. So
Maybe.
that's why we get called. It's like, oh, there's someone shiny over there. Let's go find out. I
It's
think these
funny.
people are just kind of bored in their jobs. So they want to talk to the fun and interesting looking people.
That's a good way to look at it. It's funny because we have this joke within my family that when we fly, we like change whether I go first or I go last, because everyone knows I'm gonna get pulled out. They have to wait for me, and you know we are all smiling and having big fun about this. Yeah. So, but the way you put it, I really like it, and so if I should not get pulled out anymore, I know I've got to do something about my inner shine, about my inner glow. I might not be in my best state. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
But this is not about me. I would really like to learn more about the work you do. And also, is there a reason why you went to India? Obviously, this sounds very different. Born in Germany, then you decided to go to India. You lived there for 20 years. I mean, I love India, Mother India, but India is a very different place and can be also a harsh place to live in, with a lot of poverty, lots of extremes. Life there is very different. So I'm really curious about this, and also about your own spiritual journey. So what inspired you to go on that journey?
Yeah, it was extreme to live in India. But what inspired me to ultimately go when I was 24, 25 was that I had started to learn about yoga when I was 19, and I was intrigued because it did these things for me, which I had previously to that yoga practice only known from smoking marijuana. And so I was like, oh my God, there is this way where you can feel just the same way, but you don't smoke. And so I was excited about it, and I was like, okay, I'll stop smoking and I'll live the healthy lifestyle. But you know, when you're 19, 20, those things are challenging, and all my friends just kept partying, kept smoking. I didn't find a new circle of friends, and so I was sucked right back in after my first 40 days of lasting with no smoking. And then the second year, you know, I would always go back to this French yoga festival where we would practice the special meditation together, and it was super profound and super life-changing. I would come home every year being like, okay, this is it. I'm never touching it again. I'm cured. I know what I want. And then again, you know, like I would start hanging out with my friends and start, oh, maybe just a little bit here, there. So this happened ultimately like 4 or 5 years in a row. And by the fifth year, I was just like, if I do not get out from Berlin and I do not get out from this same loop I keep falling into, I'm just going to do this for the rest of my life. And I wanted the change. So when I moved to India, it was very easy to change. Now suddenly all these new habits, the healthy eating, the waking up early, the meditating, the practicing yoga, it was all super easy. It was super easy not to smoke cigarettes. It was super easy not to drink alcohol. It was easy not to smoke weed, because I was surrounding myself with people who had similar interests and were on the similar path. And so I really liked it. And so I really started to exploring this new and much more grounded and happier version of myself.
Wow. What an inspirational journey. I feel, I don't know, that there was already as a 19-year-old quite a lot of self-awareness. And I'm just blown away that as a 19-year-old, you happen to stumble into yoga. Because I don't know, there are not so many 19-year-olds around anymore who are really curious, and especially not male 19-year-olds who are really curious about yoga. So yeah, I think this is absolutely amazing. And I love how you described what yoga did for you, because I feel this is the true yoga, and it does the same thing for me every single day. It's so transformational. It's so beautiful. It brings us to the core, or the essence of what we are, which I believe is love. And yeah, so there's nothing more beautiful than again and again being a little bit in touch with that. So thank you so much for sharing this. So what brought you back to another place? I think you then moved to Mexico, is that right? Maybe you got stuck in
Oh, when we
between.
left India, we moved to Germany first, and there was kind of just a place to land, and we were like, oh, let's just see how it goes. And then we very quickly realized it's not the place for us, especially when the COVID lockdown happened, and it got so strict in Germany. You know, the Germans take stuff serious. And so it was really rough. And so we were locked down for almost 2 years, not doing anything. And then when the numbers rose again a year and a half ago, we were just like, we need to get out. We need to get to Mexico. People are super chill about it. They wear masks sometimes, so sometimes just hanging on the ear. And, you know, everybody was just relaxed out in the sun, having a good time. We're like, we're moving to Mexico. We're changing our entire life. And how my daughter put it so nicely, where she said, what the F is wrong with you guys? You know, I just learned German.
I love it. And I think my beautiful girls can very much relate to this. I will share this bit of wisdom from your daughter to them. They will love it. But what made you leave India?
My wife and I actually came to the conclusion at the same time independently, where we just said, like, okay, we've been here for 20 years. We're in our 40s now. It's either staying another 20 years and saying this is it, or we get out and we start something new. And we both had this longing of just taking all this, you know, all this learning and all this knowledge and everything which we gained from our time in India and just take it out into the world. Because living in India, living at the school where I worked, living in this environment was very much like living in a bubble. You know, we're very protected. We're very much in our tiny community. There was the same 15, 20 people we talked to every day. There was not a lot of outreach. It was all very cozy, very safe, and very small. And I almost felt like, you know, the yogi which sat and meditated in his cave for 20 years and now finally said, like, okay, I'm going to walk down into the village and I'm going to take it on and I'm going to see what happens. And so that's kind of how it happened.
I love that. And why I ask this is because I do feel as we walk through this beautiful journey of life, we've got different phases. And or also we might change. And I love that we can evolve and then, you know, start new or start differently. And I feel this is what you have done again and again. And I want to encourage with this podcast my audience to do the same. And this doesn't have to mean, you know, that they move and start somewhere else. But if they feel that they are not fulfilled, happy, or where they want to be right now, that yes, they can change. There's always a way. And this is really important to me. So this is why I asked back. Thank you so much for sharing. So let's dive a little bit more into your amazing work. So you are an exceptional coach. What do you help your clients with, and how does your work look like?
And it goes right along what you just spoke about. It's about that change. It's about that overcoming of fear. You know, it's like I feel like when people ask me, what do you do as a coach? And I'm so excited about it. It's like, I'm in the dream creation business. You know, like people come to me and they open up their hearts and they say, you know what I really want to do? I want to be a dancer. I want to be an artist. I want to be, you know, like whatever, you know, but that thing with some people who've been saying like, I've been dreaming to talk about this for 20 years. It's the first time someone is listening where I can really express myself. I can really talk about what I want. And now suddenly we have a base. We say like, okay, so why haven't you followed your career as becoming a dancer? And they're like, oh yeah, but it's because of the money, and it's because of the family, and it's because of my wife, it's because of my kids, because of the house, whatever it is, right? I mean, they have such a long list. And then ultimately, we talk about it and we really dig deep and we say, is it really about your wife? Does your wife want you to be miserable and not follow your heart? And they're like, no, that's really not it. And is it really that your kids need the new, sports shoes every 2 months and they want you to be on it? It's like, nah, it's really not it. So it's really not the money. And you really need the big house. You need all these expenses. And they're like, nah, it's really like, I'm afraid. I'm afraid I might fail. I might not be good at it. And so out of that fear, I haven't taken any action. And
Or
then we
even,
dive one step deeper.
sorry for
Yeah.
interrupting, but comes to my mind, or even I'm really afraid to succeed, because what happens if I truly, become this different person and live my dream all of a sudden? I feel this can also happen.
Yeah, this happens to a lot of people too, where they're just like, I've been this lawyer and I've been this family man and I've been the guy with a big house. And now suddenly this all is going and I paint my hair pink and dance on stages around the world, like what people think of me. Yeah, and then it comes back down to, what are you going to think of yourself if you don't do it? And so that's when it gets interesting, because when you come to this point with people get very vulnerable and people get very much like a little child. And all a little child wants is someone at their side, someone who holds their hand, someone who says, I believe in you. I believe in your dream. And they say, really? I say, yeah, because I see your eyes light up. I see you, straighten up when you talk about it. I see you get a big smile on your face. Why would your friends or your family not want this for you? And they're like, really? And then suddenly, then they get really quiet and you see the little wheels turning in their head. And it comes to this point where they're like, I think I want to do this. I think I need to do this. I think this is why I came on this world, to give this back to the world. And then when you get someone at that point, I mean, it's really nothing stopping them anymore. And then it's such a beautiful journey.
Oh, yeah. I love it. And I feel it's very much what I do too, obviously differently, more on a physical level, but I can totally see how it's the same thing, how there's so much fear and also this identity that most of my clients have created around themselves, and what or who would they be if all of a sudden they maybe are not in a bigger body, or maybe they are fitter, because then also we don't have those excuses anymore. However, when we go beyond this, there's this whole new world opening up and of possibilities and of, really diving into a much more true version of yourself. And there's nothing more beautiful, absolutely amazing.
Yeah. And then something beautiful happens too in that moment when you live this authentic version of yourself. Now suddenly going to work and working 8-hour, 10-hour days doesn't feel like work anymore. It feels like you get to go play for 10 hours and you come home with a big smile and you're full of energy. And suddenly you don't need that 3 bottles of wine at night to just drown your sorrows so you can make it into the next day, because you're so excited to wake up the next day at 6 in the morning because you want to live your dream and you want to do more of that. And so now suddenly these things which have been becoming crutches or things to just kind of make you survive, now suddenly become like, oh, sure, I can enjoy a glass of wine once in a while and it doesn't make a difference. But I'm not having to go to that, crutch just to make it through the night. So I'm not so miserable before I go to sleep.
So when you help your clients like this and they let go of this fear and truly go for their dreams and live their dreams and then shine and are happy, how does this spiral further? How does this help our world in general, making our world a happier place? And I'm asking this because, again, I feel it's very much the same for me. And I speak all the time about making, or my big mission is making our world a healthier, happier place. And I feel by helping one client at a time, this really has a huge effect. But maybe you can explain it from your perspective.
Yeah, totally. And this is so fulfilling. I mean, just to help one person change their life. And that's why I love doing the podcast. I love posting on TikTok. And I just, when I put in effort, I put together a video and I edit it and I put the subtitles. I'm sitting there for an hour and my kids go like, "You're more on TikTok than we are." They laugh at me. And I'm like, yeah, but if one person will watch this video and this will change their day, it's worth it for me. This is worth the time I'm investing. And that's why I'm also so excited, because naturally I'm more introverted. Naturally, I'm like, keep me off social media. I don't need followers. I don't need any of that. But I'm at a new point now where I'm saying, like, with every 100 followers I gain, I can impact another 100 people's lives. I can impact one person's life. And suddenly I see the reasoning behind it. I see why I need to step out of my shell and shine and allow the world to see what I have to offer and what my gifts are, even though it's super uncomfortable for me. And it's much more cozy to sit at home and not talk to anyone and not do any podcasts and not do any videos, because, then no one can question you and no one can criticize you and no one can tell you how amazing you are. All these things which create so much emotion in ourselves. And so I'm now at this point where I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to be uncomfortable doing this, but guess what? I'm doing it because I know there's something behind that feeling of discomfort. There is that one person I can touch and that one person I can serve.
Beautiful. Again, I can so much relate. Like you, I'm an introvert. Would you believe it? And I'm here on a podcast, yeah, but absolutely. And I feel this place of discomfort is a magical place where a lot of growth and just magic can happen. Would like to hear a little bit about your habits and rituals that you might have to, I don't know, in the morning, during the day, in the evening, that help you to have a baseline of love, of growth, of supporting yourself, because obviously you give a lot to others. So how do you feed yourself, and also how do you feed your spirituality?
Yeah, for me, it really starts the night before. For me, I put an extreme high priority on going to bed on time. I mean, there really has to happen something big, like, okay, if it's one of my good friends' weddings and that goes till 1 a.m., 2 a.m., I will stay there till 2 a.m. already thinking, oh my God, tomorrow morning, I'm not going to be able to wake up at 5, but maybe I can wake up at 7:30 and everybody else is going to be asleep because we got to bed so late. So I still, so this is how I kind of plan my schedule. So I get to bed on time, and that allows me to wake up with ease early. I love waking up early because my kids are asleep, my wife is asleep, the house is quiet, the world is quiet. And that's when I get to sit and I get to be with myself and I get to go deep into my meditation. And then by 6:45, 7, when everybody wakes up, I'm done. I don't have to that's when my day starts and people ask me questions and I help my kids with their hair or whatever it is, right? It's like it's this moment which I carve out for myself as this sacred time to honor myself in this body temple and to honor myself in this practice and to connect with infinity, connect with my roots, feel myself being grounded, feel myself being connected to the infinite, and just to become really, really present. And I love doing it in the morning Because what I found is when I don't do it in the morning, there's always something else happening in the day. And then some days I manage to do it at night, but I'm half tired. And it's so I scratched all that and I'm like focusing 100% on this morning time. And it's super important. I mean, to the point where my wife would roll her eyes if she would hear me talking about it, because she's like, yeah, I'd like to watch a movie with you sometimes. I was like, I know, but I'm so tired and I have to wake up at 5. Well, actually, I get to wake up at 5. That's a better way of saying it.
Yet again, I love it. And yet again, I can so much relate. The same for me. The morning time is my sacred time. And I go to all of the efforts to make sure I will never, ever miss that time that I just have for myself, for my body, for my mind, for my soul, and I. And I also feel that the morning hours have a very different energy than the evening hours. Or I also know from Ayurveda that there are definitely different energies that become more available. So in the evening, there is more kapha. So we are definitely not quite as open, but more really grounded, which is also beautiful. But I think for really starting the day, this lightness of energy is really, really helpful. So yeah, I think I need to play this to my husband, because he is not always so excited about me being so excited about those mornings. Yeah, so we can relate here.
Yeah.
I would love to know, what about diet? Do you feel that having a healthy nutrition or a certain kind of diet is really important for you? And also, I would like for you to go a little bit deeper into meditation, because I think this is a big word. And I know for me in the beginning, it was like, I can't meditate. It's not for me. It's just not happening. I can't sit still. This is all too much. This is crazy. And I also know that this is the case for many others. So what is meditation? What does it look like for you? How can someone get into meditation who has never meditated before as such? And also, what is the importance of diet, or what does your diet look like? Or do you feel diet is important, or a particular diet?
I mean, just on diet, we could probably speak for hours. And so I try to simplify it as much. For me, I eat a vegetarian diet just because I never liked eating animals. That was like a thing since since I'm 5, and they, my parents kind of tricked me into it. By the time I was 16, 17, when I could finally make up my mind, I was like, okay, this is it. I'm done with meat. I'm also very careful to not say there's one right diet for every body type, because there's a lot of people eat differently. Like one of my good friends only eats organic meat and fruit, and he's one of the healthiest people I know. And then I have other friends who are vegetarian who live off white bread, cheese, and candy. And they say, oh, I'm vegetarian, I have a healthy diet. They're saying, no, you don't. The guy who eats meat over here has a healthy diet. So, I want to be very careful with that. But I have found probably for diet the most important thing, and how it directly relates to meditation, is to not overeat. And that's one of the things which I find from when I eat a pizza. It's very easy to overeat because it's fun, it's bread and cheese, and oh my God, I can eat like more pieces and this, and then afterwards I feel like so heavy, like in Ayurveda, like in that kapha energy. Like same thing, if I drink alcohol, it makes me feel heavy, it makes me feel tired, it affects my meditation practice. If I overeat on sugar, I feel shitty the next morning, it affects my meditation practice. So all these things, I try not to do them because I don't like being affected the next morning in my sacred practice. So I like eating light. I like eating little. For breakfast, I have a shake. For lunch, I just eat with the family. We eat a vegetarian meal together. I try to not overeat because I know when I overeat, again, my energy drops. I feel shitty the next day. So this is really probably the biggest thing which applies to every human. Learn to not overeat. And this is where a vegetarian diet comes in a really healthy way, because when you have a big plate of salad or broccoli or cucumbers, it's very hard to overeat, because after you eat a certain amount, you're like, I'm just not excited about it anymore. It's not like going to McDonald's where you can eat 4 burgers because it has all these things in there, or chips, right? Or these kinds of things which really make you want to keep eating. Mm-hmm. And so this is the simplest thing for people to practice, especially if you want to improve their meditation, is to learn not to overeat and to decide what are the things where I naturally stop eating when I'm full, and what are the things which I keep shoveling in. And then maybe just stay away from the shovel things, even though they're fun, and just eat them once a week, eat them twice a week. Doesn't matter. Just don't eat them every day.
I love it. So I'm a huge fan of mindful eating, and this is pretty much what you have described here. And what I also really love is that your main reason why you are nourishing your body in that way is because you want to feel good after, you want to be able to do your meditation, and all those other things have an impact on your meditation. I love that, because I feel so many clients I see just want to lose weight because they want to look one or the other way. And I wonder if that reason is really empowering them to follow their goals. So most of the time it's not. And yet the reason that you have called out is deep and intrinsic to you. So of course, this is working. So thank you so much. Very briefly, can you describe your meditation for us?
Yeah. You brought up earlier how hard it was for you when you started with a meditation practice, and you were having these thoughts and thinking like, oh my God, I can't meditate and this is impossible. Maybe I should just give up on it. And I think a lot of people can relate, especially when you're a beginner and you sit down the first time and you really don't have a habit of sitting down. Your mind will shoot all kinds of ideas and thoughts out. And especially if you're a creative person, you know, a lot of stuff comes out and you're just thinking, oh my God. Like I feel more meditative when I work. I feel more meditative when I talk to my kids. And right now I'm sitting here meditating and my mind is going crazy. For those people, I want to remind them that we as human beings are born with the ability to meditate. When we're in our mother's womb, we meditate for 9 months straight. When we are born and we're nursing or we're sucking from the bottle, our eyes roll up, we go into this deep meditative space. You can watch a baby meditating and you're thinking like, oh my God, you know, this human is 3 months old and knows how to meditate deeper than me with 30 years of meditation practice, because we have this intrinsic ability to be deep meditators. We lose that because we don't have a practice around it. But please know, for everybody who's listening, you have the ability to meditate. You were meditating when you were little. So all it really takes is to get back to that. And so what I recommend to people who are new to meditation is to go for a walk, and then go find a bench and sit on the bench, have the sun on your face, close your eyes, focus on your breath just for a minute or two, and just enjoy the moment. And guess what your mind is going to do? Your mind is just going to go still and quiet, because you're not putting all this expectation of, I have to meditate for 15 minutes because I read it in this book and they said I need to meditate every day 15 minutes, right? And suddenly you're enjoying it. Same like when you're busy and you have little kids, or you're like working 2 jobs and you have to go shopping, and then you have to think about like, do you want to have to make dinner and this and that? Just like when everybody gets out of the car, close the car door, turn off the music, put your phone away, close your eyes, and just sit. And just sit and listen to the quiet space in your car. and just do that for 1 minute. That is more profound and deeper meditation practice than you sitting on your mat thinking like, oh my God, I really should be like getting up and doing these emails or doing this project. And I'm sitting here wasting my time. That's the most stupid thing ever. And your mind can say it much faster than I can say it out loud, right? And it can say it like in 6 tracks at the same time too. And so really recommend to people, learn what prepares you for meditation, and meditation will just become a side effect.
Beautiful. I love it. Also, I feel it then doesn't become just another chore that you try to cross off your list, but you really give yourself the permission and ability to dive into those little blissful moments of being. So thank you so much for describing that. And also I can so much relate to, yes, of course, those babies are meditating. It makes so much sense now. I still have those images so vivid in my mind of these beautiful babies when they nurse, or this is why they come out like little Buddhas and are like little
and
Buddhas.
it affects us as the adults around. It affects you as the mother sitting there, and suddenly you're meditating because your baby is nursing. And a person walks in and they see it and they suddenly go quiet and they just want to sit there and be part of this beautiful experience. Sure. Like in today's society, it's like so stigmatized as, oh, there's a nursing mother and this horrible thing which comes around it. But it's such a beautiful thing. And I really wish more women would go out into the world and nurse their babies in public and just really allow for the world to be impacted in this positive and beautiful way of experiencing a baby in bliss and in meditation, because it ripples and it allows us to be more calm and more relaxed.
Beautiful. I love it. And I also really, really love that picture of the baby nursing and the mom also starting to meditate, because I feel this is something, even if we don't nurse our babies anymore at that time, maybe this is something we can recreate, like you said, finding that moment on the bench. For me, this seems much more doable than just, okay, it's my time to meditate quickly, 10 minutes, but I know I've got this podcast, I've got 10 clients after, my children are home then, and oh my goodness, I haven't done then. This feels so different to me. So thank you so much for that. Where can my audience find you? How can they get in touch with you and your amazing work?
Probably the easiest place is on my website, which is coachingnow.info. So coachingnow.info, that's the easiest way to get in touch with me. The most fun way to get in touch with me is on TikTok. So if you're one of those people who dares to be on TikTok, find me on TikTok. I make a new video every day. I have so much fun with TikTok. That's like one of those things, where I really learning about my own authentic self and stepping out. And I'm using these little snippets from the podcasts I do. And I really, really have a lot of fun. So TikTok would be my recommendation. And then also another thing which I do every 2 months is I teach a little basic introduction to meditation, to Kundalini Yoga. So if you're interested in that, you can send me a message there on Instagram, or, there's so many ways to get in touch with people today. It's so easy.
Oh, absolutely amazing. I've got to check you out on TikTok. I don't think we are connected there yet. As you know, I'm new on TikTok and I'm still getting my head around this, but I absolutely can't wait to check your TikTok out now. I'm excited.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you got 3 golden nuggets for my audience that you can share? Just 3 brief, beautiful pieces of wisdom for them.
Breathe more and breathe more consciously. For those of you who remember when Skype was new, they had this introduction screen and say, take a deep breath. You remember that? And I would every single time take a deep breath and think, oh, that was such an easy way to feel better. I should do more of that.
True.
So that's a big one. Second one, I would be more kind, not just to your surrounding, but to yourself, because we're so trained to be kind to our bosses, to our partners, to our children, to like everybody we're supposed to be kind to, but we always forget to be kind to ourselves, to be kind to our shortcomings, kind to our faults, kind to our shadows, kind to our dark sides, and just start to accepting yourself a little bit more as a whole and as a being and as an experience. And then the last one, I would just say, have more fun, because especially in the spiritual world, it's getting, things are very like, you have to do this and you have to do that and you have to get to this level. It's like, honestly, you have to do nothing. You can just sit down and relax and do it next lifetime, but have some fun and then go with the flow, because when you're in the flow, beautiful things happen, beautiful opportunities come. Suddenly you can listen to your intuition with ease. Suddenly people smile back at you and you're like, wow, I wonder why everybody's so nice to me. And it's like, oh, because your energy changed. Those people are still the same people, but the second you change inside of you, beautiful things happen.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much. Amrit, is there anything you would still like to share with my audience that we haven't had time today to talk about, or that I haven't asked you?
What comes to mind is the Nike slogan, right? The Nike, just do it. Really take advantage of the beautiful opportunities you have in your life. Go dance that dance, sing that song, do the thing which you always wanted to do, and really just that step out of your comfort zone. I think comfort is really overrated in our world, where we all need to have our own house and we need to have our own car and we need to, have this and have that. And suddenly it's like all the fun gets sucked out of life. So really like find what makes your eyes light up. And it's different for all of us. And we all have a something. And find that and just do a little bit, do like 5 minutes of that a day. That you don't even have to like change your whole life and quit your job tomorrow and get out of your relationship, which made you unhappy for 20 years. But get to a point where you're just saying, for 5 minutes, I'm going to dance because I love to dance. For 5 minutes, I'm going to go give back to the world and help my neighbor. For 5 minutes, I'm just going to be kind to that person who was horrible to me and see what happens. And have a little compassion for their journey and for their struggles. And just don't take myself so serious and don't get so stuck in ego.
Oh, thank you so much, Amrit. I feel I could talk with you forever. I would definitely love to have a second podcast with you.
Yeah, totally. This was so much fun.
I have enjoyed this so very much, and I'm so grateful for the amazing work that you do to make our world a healthier and happier place. You're amazing. Thank you so, so much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Take care. If you enjoyed this episode, then please do me a favor and like, subscribe to, rate or share my podcast, because this is the only way I can spread this health boosting knowledge. I also wanted to let you know that I'm currently writing a free ebook that will help you to bring more clarity around all the confusion of healthy eating and weight loss. Like I said, it will be totally for free, and this is my way to give back to you and to our beautiful world. If there are any particular topics you would like to hear more about or learn more about, please let me know. I would absolutely love to be inspired by you, and I also want to make sure that you get exactly the knowledge and the wisdom that you need to hear. And lastly, if you would like more individualized support and guidance from me, then please don't hesitate to reach out to me via social media, my website, or book your totally free 30-minute strategy call so that I can help you to uncover a healthier, more glowing and happier version of you. I am your biggest cheerleader. Please keep glowing. Much love.